YouTube, what's going on? Kevin the Tech Ninja here, and today we're doing a speed test between Samsung's latest Galaxy S20 Ultra and OnePlus 8 Pro. So the OnePlus 8 Pro comes in two different RAM flavors. We have one with 12 gigabytes of RAM and one with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And the S20 Ultra is 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now inside the phones, they both have the Snapdragon 865 processor. So I think it should be a pretty even race. Maybe when doing some multitasking, we'll then see the difference between the actual speeds. So both phones have the ability to go to 120 Hertz. So the Ultra will be at 1080p resolution and the OnePlus will be at 1080p resolution as well. Both phones are updated. The batteries are charged good enough where it isn't in low power mode or anything else like that turned on to save battery. Both phones were rebooted each time between each test. All apps were closed out of memory. I ran each test 3 times and took an average score to account for human error. I also made sure that the run was as clean as possible so not many mistakes were made. I allowed each app to fully load before closing it out. On the left hand side we have the OnePlus 8 Pro, and on the right hand side we have that S20 Ultra. Out of the gates, the OnePlus 8 Pro is very fast, flying between all the apps with no sign of slowdown. The S20 is trying its best to keep up. When we get to the sneakers app on the OnePlus 8, it's really struggling to open up. This app is pretty slow to load on all phones. It looks like the S20 took around half the time on the sneakers app and it actually closed the gap. The Ultra is trying to pull away, but the OnePlus 8 Pro is still about a half a second behind. So now we're coming to the games. These games are very large games and it takes around 10 to 15 seconds to load each one. So it looks like the S20 is pulling away. It's close to a 2-second lead. Okay, the S20 finishes with a time of 1 minute and 32 seconds, 0.4, and the OnePlus 8 finishes at 135.7. I also did relaunch all the apps on both phones and performance was virtually the same. Both phones opened all the apps without reloading anything and they kept everything in memory. The OnePlus 8 only has 8 gigabytes of RAM, where the S20 has 12 gigabytes of RAM, but there was no difference. A theory that I have is that Samsung may have more things running in the background taking up more RAM, whereas the OnePlus 8 is a very minimal skin and it may not be using that much stuff in the background in the first place. And just for fun, I did a reboot test as well, and we ended up with just under 30 seconds for the OnePlus 8 Pro and slightly under 34 seconds for the S20 Ultra. And once again, I think that's due to the S20 launching more things in the background. The S20 Ultra is just a fast phone, and when I compare it to a phone that I thought would be faster like the OnePlus 8 Pro, it is still faster. If I had a OnePlus 8 Pro with 12 gigabytes of RAM, it may have changed this comparison. Unfortunately, I just don't have that phone, but I will be interested to see the results. However, I think they'll be what we saw here. Anyways, guys, Kevin the Tech Ninja, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, hit subscribe, and I'll be hitting that box with more great videos pretty soon. All right, guys, take care.